Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. My ex left me the majority of his estate, amounts to $700,000. His parents demand that I leave it to his wife and child. My ex and I were together for almost 20 years. We never got married because it never felt necessary, and we were child-free. I had problems with birth control, so he chose vasectomy. I found out that he cheated on me 3 years ago, and I left him. He got with his affair partner. 6 months later, I heard that they were married. I found out that I was pregnant with my current boyfriend a year into dating, and even though we still weren't there in the relationship, we thought that we could make it happen. And sure enough, we are very happy, and we love our little family very much. My ex kept texting me on occasions like birthdays and holidays. I never answered. But when he heard about my daughter, he sent me a lengthy and hurtful text about me cheating on him, and he never texted me again. I never answered. A few months later, my ex unalived himself. This was about 4 months ago. His wife is apparently giving birth any time now. I was surprised. I was contacted by a solicitor to tell me that I have inherited my ex's estate. He had left everything to me, besides some to his parents' pension and his nephew. I got a letter from him apologizing for what he did and saying that he loved me and wished me and my family happiness, and he wanted to help with that. Now his wife and parents are very angry and demand that I leave them everything. I don't know. Would I be the bonehead if I kept it? Because that is what I want, actually. And what he wanted. Not the bonehead. Hire a lawyer. Get a lawyer to take care of the details. Don't spend this money, as any and all monies from the estate to them should have been taken care of by probate, but they may contest the will. You are not obligated to give any of that money back unless ordered by the court. Flip the script, they would give you nothing. Up to you if you want to keep it or ration it out. People get really weird about inheritance money and will actively destroy their own families over jealousy and the such. Not the bonehead. His current wife cheated on him, and he knew. That's why he left everything to you. Block all of them and go no contact. It's a gift, and it's yours to keep. Do not give them anything. This is weird. Of course he can leave his estate to you if he wanted to. It's easy to speculate about why. He had a vasectomy. His wife became pregnant. He unalived himself, left his estate to you. There is a fairly obvious narrative there which may or may not be accurate, even if it is a bit like a bad novel. But if this has actually happened and isn't just made up, then it's obviously not something you need to be concerned about. The will must be being independently executed. Any legal tangles will be straightened out in the process, and it should be straightforward to avoid contact with the wife and her family. Am I the bonehead for keeping my engagement a secret until my friend's wedding? My 24 female fiancé, 25 male proposed to me on Christmas Eve 2023. We have a maternity shoot coming up in a few weeks from now, and so we decided it would be cute to have some official engagement photos taken as part of the shoot, which we would then use to announce our engagement on social media. Of course, we still told our closest family and a couple of our closest friends. We were on holiday when we got engaged and only came home a couple of days before the wedding, so we didn't run into anyone we knew in person who would have seen the ring and asked about it. The first time we met up with everyone since we got back was at the wedding of a childhood family friend. She's not one of the people who was aware of my engagement, and the majority of guests were family members and friends I had known for a long time, but were not in the inner circle of people we had told. So whenever I went up to chat to them, they would notice the ring and congratulate me and my fiancé on our engagement. One friend of ours made a small scene and told all of our friends in the vicinity. There were about 5-6 people, and they all circled around me to look at the ring and congratulate me. At this point, I felt pretty bad that the attention wasn't on the bride, so once that group cleared, I took the ring off and placed it in my clutch for the rest of the night. But by then the damage was done, and the word had spread, and for the rest of the night, I had people coming up and congratulating me. By the time I got to the bride to congratulate her and celebrate her marriage with her, She was really upset with me, basically telling me that it was so selfish of me to flaunt my engagement at her wedding, and she accused me of purposely taking the limelight off her. She thought I had purposely kept my engagement secret for the sole purpose of revealing it at her wedding, and accused me of being a liar when I explained myself. I understand I probably should have never worn the ring there in the first place, but I had had it on for a week, so it didn't ever cross my mind to take it off until it was too late. So am I the bonehead? You only took the ring off when you'd gotten enough attention. If you didn't want people to know, you wouldn't have worn it. You're the bonehead. Do people stare at your hands all the time when you chat to them during a wedding? I doubt it. I rarely look at people's hands when chatting. You made sure they saw the ring, and I don't buy the story that you forgot to take it off. If you really had forgotten it and didn't want to flaunt it, you would have taken it off as soon as the first person mentioned it. You're the bonehead. If this wasn't intentional, you would have taken the ring off the very first time someone mentioned the ring. But it happened over and over. You intentionally kept wearing the ring after at least several people commented on it. You're the bonehead for intentionally announcing your engagement via a very noticeable ring that you intentionally did not remove until everyone already knew. Am I the bonehead for giving my 37 male wife, 36 female, an ultimatum concerning a boundary I have about one of her close male friends? Essentially, my wife has developed a close friendship with this dude in our area that I was 100% fine with until New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, my wife and I with some friends went to a private party where she ended up getting more drunk than she had planned. On the way home, I saw that she had received a text message from this individual. She opened the text message, to which I could see that she had sent him a video of what she looked like that night, which was very sexy, and his response was thanking her for the wardrobe malfunction. After we got home and she passed out, I looked at her phone and she did indeed send him a revealing video. I tried to confront her then, but she was too drunk to be coherent. I let it be till the morning. After we had been awake for a couple hours, I confronted her again and told her she needed to cut off all contact with him, or I would be leaving. She cried when I said cut off contact and cried harder when I said I would leave. Well, she told her friend who, although was impressed with how I handled it and did agree with me, also said that she doesn't like that I have an ultimatum and that it feels controlling. My wife told me this, to which I replied, I'm just setting up a boundary. You can do what you want, but I will not stick around if you keep this friendship in light of these texts. I personally think this friend of hers doesn't like me and kind of wants my wife to leave me. I also think it's manipulative to tell someone their boundaries are controlling. So am I the bonehead? Edit. The friend she talked to is not the same person as the guy she sent the video to. My bad. Not the bonehead. Your wife's behavior was totally not cool. She needs to respect your boundaries and cut ties with this dude. Don't let her gaslight you into thinking it's controlling. She messed up big time. Not the bonehead. Sounds like the friendship is developed more than enough. Stand firm. This is absolutely an acceptable boundary, and at this point she should feel lucky you've given the ultimatum, because that's a hard break for me, unfortunately. I understand if you'll have kids potentially, but I would hold firm on your decision. Remember, people will always show us who they are. It's us who has the hard time seeing it sometimes. Wishing you luck. Am I the bonehead for not participating in my fiancé's weird Xmas underwear tradition? This year, I celebrated Christmas with my fiancé's family for the first time. Before we went to my fiancé's parents' house, my fiancé warned me that his parents usually come short in the amount of food they cook for Christmas dinner, and that there's often not enough for everyone. What I didn't expect, though, was to be expected to participate in the family's weird tradition. Apparently, they have a long-standing tradition where instead of drawing straws, they'll throw all their underwear in a bin and then take turns wearing a blindfold and drawing a pair of underwear from the pile. Drawing the smallest pair of underwear correlates to drawing the smallest straw. I had never heard of this tradition, so I felt blindsided when right before Christmas dinner, My fiance's mom yelled out that it was time to pull the straws to decide the order of who got to plate up their food first, in case there wasn't enough for everyone. At first I thought the family was joking when they announced this, so I laughed, which made my fiance get real defensive. I volunteered to get my food last, so I wouldn't have to participate, but my fiance just got more annoyed and asked me to just try to be a bit more agreeable. The whole thing was just kind of weirding me out, so I called an Uber and went home. Now things are real tense between me and my fiance since he now says I made a bad impression by acting like I was too good for their family tradition. Am I the bonehead? WTF, not the bonehead. This doesn't seem like it could possibly be real, but I also don't know how you'd come up with this, so I'm inclined to believe you. It's gross as F to have to touch other people's dirty underwear, even more so when they're not people you're directly related to or particularly close to. It's weird and embarrassing to have your underwear on display for everyone. Plus, imagine your underwear being the smallest or largest pair, or having a period stain on it, or discharge. My in-laws should never see my underwear, and I don't know if I'd feel worse about them seeing the tiny sexy ones, or the more full coverage ones I wear on my period. They have to know this is not a normal thing. You could have and should have been warned. This problem could have been easily fixed by them simply making more effing food, or asking guests to bring a dish to share, so there would be enough to go around. Once again, not the bonehead. I would have noped right out of there too, and if I were you, I would tell your fiancé that I am too good for their fiancé, that I am too good for their family tradition, because it's honestly weird and trashy. Any normal person damned well would be too good for this effed up family tradition. Your fiancé needs to know that this isn't remotely sane or acceptable. Tell him we all said it's lunacy, not the bonehead. Is anyone else reading this and just kind of stunned? Wow, not the bonehead, and I would have also called an Uber and went home. That is beyond bizarre. I don't want to touch other people's used underwear aside from my partner's, and I don't need my future in-laws seeing my underwear. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next Reddit story.